It's almost Thanksgiving. Soon I'll be able to go home and I'll eat pie. And once I go home and eat pie, I think that's really going to change things for me. I think that I'm going to come back swinging.
Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I do not make a habit of two different things. One, I don't make a habit of seeking out books that have similar titles, and two, I do not make a habit of comparing books. But when I accidentally do one thing, it's very hard for me to not do the other thing. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, welcome to the Bone Off vlog. That's right, purely through chance, I ended up with two books with very similar titles in the same library haul, those books being Bone White by Ronald Malfi and Bone Gap by Laura Ruby. Now this video is not that deep, I'm not genuinely going to be like pitting the bones against each other. I just thought it would be fun to read these two books together. Bone White by Ronald Malfi is an adult, I believe, horror novel. I think it's kind of towing the line between thriller and horror, but I think that there are enough like supernatural elements that are kind of pushing it into the horror direction. Paul Gallo saw the report on the news. A mass murderer leading police to his victim's grave in remote Dred's Hand, Alaska. It's not even a town, more like a bad memory of a town. The same bit of wilderness where his twin brother went missing a year ago. As the bodies are exhumed, Paul travels to Alaska to get closure and put his grief to rest. But the mystery is only beginning. What Paul finds are superstitious locals who talk of the devil stealing souls and a line of wooden crosses to keep what's in the woods from coming out. He finds no closure because no one can explain exactly what happened to Danny. And the more he searches for answers, the more he finds himself becoming part of the mystery. And then of course part one is literally called Dead Bodies. So I am all over this concept. Moving on to our next pick, we have Bone Gap by Laura Ruby. For this one, this had been on my TBR for a while, and I requested that the library put it on hold for me because it was Halloween time. Obviously, Halloween has come and gone, and I have not read it yet, but that's okay because I saved it for the Bone Off. With Bone Gap, I had definitely heard of the book before, and I don't know why I didn't add it to my TBR, because when I saw it in the library and read the synopsis, I was like, oh, okay, I'm all for that. It is young adult, which in terms of like the horror thriller side of things, young adult, I don't know. There are some challenges there. But here's the synopsis for Bone Gap. Everyone knows Bone Gap is full of gaps. Gaps to trip you up, gaps to slide through so you can disappear forever. So when young, beautiful Rosa goes missing, the people of Bone Gap weren't surprised. After all, it wasn't the first time that someone had slipped away and left Finn and Sean O'Sullivan on their own. Finn knows that's not what happened with Rosa. He knows she was kidnapped, ripped from the cornfields by a dangerous man whose face he cannot remember. But the searches turn up nothing and no one believes him anymore. As we follow the stories of Finn, Rosa, and the people of Bone Gap, their melancholy past, their terrifying presents, their uncertain futures, acclaimed author Laura Ruby weaves a heartbreaking tale of love and loss, magic and mystery, regret and forgiveness. A story about how the face the world sees is never the sum of who we are. So with both books, we've got kind of a missing persons thrillery moment happening. I think that this one is definitely going to be leaning more thriller than horror. From this point forward, I am going to try and stop blatantly comparing the books, because that's not really what I'm here to do. I'm here to just read two books that have similar titles, both of which I'm very excited to read, and as of now have pretty much equal expectations for both. And this is what my reading week is going to look like, just me and two bony books. So today has had all of the qualifications of being a inside cozy reading day. The main qualification being that it is flooding outside, and there's nowhere to go, because if you try to go anywhere, you will be swept into the ocean. That's a bit of an exaggeration. I did go to Starbucks today, but it's literally right next to my house. Because I've been completely and utterly lazy in terms of picking up these two books that are supposed to be for a vlog, I filmed the intro for the vlog over a week ago now, and just have not picked these books up. I read a different book, but just not these ones. I thought it would be a good idea to sit down and film myself reading the first chapter just so I can get going with these books. I am excited to read them. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started with Bone White. I just finished a middle grade, so I think it would be appropriate to jump to the other side of the spectrum and begin with the adult pick. We're starting off strong and literary with a quote from Shakespeare. It says, "Hell is empty and all the devils are here," which I'm hoping this is not a hint of like, oh, actually there's nothing supernatural going on, because I would like a little bit of supernatural something. I am going to be in the midst of a blanket throughout this because, as I said, it's cold, it's flooding. You might hear some hail at some point. That's been another thing that's been happening today. Without further ado, let's get into Bone White. Well, we are just getting right into it with this one. It was a really good first chapter. We open in this little diner in a very small, kind of intimate town, and inside the diner there's a man there who doesn't look particularly well, and a couple of the customers in the diner recognize him as a man that lives up the road, who they have not seen in years, and they go over to say hello, and there's very clearly kind of this air of trepidation around the whole interaction. Like, they clearly do not trust him very much. They're all a little bit cautious in how they're talking with him, and as they're speaking they do realize that he is in fact covered in blood, and when the man covered in blood is standing up to leave the diner, he does say to them that he killed all of them, that everybody is dead. So quite the start for Bone White. I really enjoyed the first chapter. It was quite short, but it definitely packed a punch. So let's go ahead and move into the next one, which is Bone Gap, the YA contestant of the Bone Off. We open with some beautiful honeycomb formations. Oh, and there's also a quote to start this one off. It says, "The nice part about living in a small town is that when you don't know what you're doing, someone else does." Anonymous. That's fun. Okay, so first chapter, Bone Gap, done. Technically I read like the prologue and the first chapter, and obviously quite a bit longer than the other one, but I think I already am liking Bone White a little bit better. So far with this one, we're getting just a lot of setup, a lot of kind of conveniently mentioned things that like the readers are supposed to know, but the characters clearly already know and are just kind of repeating for our benefit, which I'm not a huge fan of. But you know, I get it. You gotta tell the story. This chapter was following Finn, who, from what we can tell so far, is not very well liked within the town of Bone Gap. He is the younger of the two O'Sullivan brothers, but yeah, Finn is not having a good time. He feels like people are kind of ignoring the danger that Rosa could potentially be in. She's only been gone for 2 months, but everybody's kind of already saying he should just move on. Yeah, actual events that happened in this, Finn got beat up by like a bunch of guys. I don't really know who they are. He went home, got his eyebrow stitched up. He went to see a next door neighbor who gave him eggs and told him to move on. That's pretty much the play-by-play of what actually happened. What else is there to say? The cornfields, they seem iffy. And that's pretty much all I got from the first chapter. Definitely a little bit more excited to pick up Bone White. However, the next chapter is from Rosa's perspective, which is an exciting little twist. I wasn't sure if we were going to get her perspective until like the end, or if we were going to get her perspective at all. So I'm going to go ahead, shut off the camera, get some dinner, and then if I can, I would like to get 100 pages into each book tonight. I already have hit 50 pages with Bone Gap, and I have to say, I'm not really vibing with it so far. It's been a bit of a struggle. I feel like information has been presented very randomly, and I'm not really sure what the significance of anything is, and not really in like a fun, suspensey kind of way. I just kind of feel like things are just happening, and they both don't feel like they carry a lot of weight, but they also aren't presented in a very realistic way. So yeah, that is where I'm at with Bone Gap. I'm probably not going to read any more tonight, because my plan is to get my homework done, maybe read some more of Bone White, potentially get to the 50-page mark with that, and then go to bed, because it is getting quite late, and I've got quite the workload tomorrow. So if I end up reading any more of Bone White, I will let you know, but for now, only homework ahead. So it's the next day, currently in line at the pharmacy, and I gotta pull forward a bit. I am quite stressed. One, because I'm at the pharmacy, which is like one of my least favorite places on the earth, but two, I really want to get like some good headway done on these books tonight, but I've got so much to do, not just tonight, but tomorrow night, and the next night, and the night after that, and it is now hitting me that finals are officially upon us. For now, we just need to focus on getting our prescription. We'll see how that goes. They said it was going to be $600, so I'm praying that my insurance card can make that all go away. But we'll see. I hate the pharmacy with every fiber of my being. Okay, listen. I know it is bad to work from your bed. You shouldn't do homework in bed, but it has turned into that kind of day. Even more so because I have a discussion post that I have to make tonight. Really, it's more of like a presentation that I have to do for one of my classes. And it's only 2 different people that are writing on this one reading that we had to do. Me and this other guy. And I went to go look at the discussion board just to see if anybody had posted yet. We're supposed to do 1 question. This other guy did like 5, and now I have no idea what to do for mine, because he already mentioned all of the relevant points. And I'm like, dude, you have to save some for me. Just in general, school is starting to work on my absolute last nerve. I do have to go to bed pretty early tonight because I have an early shift tomorrow, but I think that it is one of those days where I am seriously going to need to give myself just like an hour to just sit and read and not exist in my current universe. Because my current universe is just not doing it for me right now. So, time to scrounge up a question from what little Logan has left for me. Thanks a lot, Logan.
My mascara has been rained on several times throughout the day, so she's doing her best. I have already just accepted the fact that this vlog is going to be a depressing disaster through a combination of the depressing reading that I'm doing and also the depressing life that I am living. That sounded dramatic. I did go to Costco today and get new leggings, so things are not that bad. But I did just pass the 100-page mark, and I did just finish part 1 of Bone White, so little update there. It's not a love match. I'm still holding out hope that this book is going to get better because, as you know, I did really enjoy the first chapter of this book. However, as of now, sorry, the washer is going, I am really struggling with the amount of characters in this book, and like, not important characters. A lot of the characters, I think they really are trying to like indicate to me, like, these people are not important, but there's so many of them. I'm just kind of at a point like, why did we choose to name all of these people? And I know that that seems like a minor thing to get like snippy about, but like, it makes the book feel like it has like this ridiculous amount of setup. It's not all setup, but there's just so many people that are getting thrown at me that like don't matter, and like, it's just a little exhausting. So I'm not having a fantastic time. We've not really touched the horror side of this book yet. So far it has felt very, very kind of like detective story, just with like some hints at maybe there'll be something horrific to come. But the main character is finally going to the location of alleged horrific things. So I think we're hopefully gonna head in the horror direction, because honestly at this point I'm gonna need that to get through this book. I fully intend to finish both books, even if I end up hating them. I started this vlog, I'm gonna finish it. There are intriguing bits and pieces to this plot, so like, I am hopeful for it to get better, though to be honest, I don't really see it surpassing a 3-star rating at this point, which is a bummer to feel that way so early on in a novel, but you know, it's just the way that it is. I want to get a good chunk into part 2 tonight, and then I'm gonna switch over into Bone Gap, which I have not read any of for the last several days, which when we last checked in I was on page 52, still on page 52. Reading has not been a thing, self-care has not been a thing, sunshine hasn't been a thing, but that's not my fault. Make a vlog right as you're prepping for finals, I said. It'll be fun, I said. If you are thinking, why not just start another book if you are not enjoying either of these? Like, you can read 3 books in the vlog and it could at least offset some of the negative feelings you're feeling. Well, the answer to that is this. That doesn't make any sense. I have to read Piranesi for a class. By tomorrow, I have to have the first 83 pages read. I do have high hopes for this, or at least I like the idea of liking this book. So potentially the required reading for one of my classes could end up trumping both of the bones. So if you don't like watching vlogs in which all of the reads are disappointing, have no fear, Piranesi's here. I'm going to keep reading the not-so-horrific horror novel Bone White by Ronald Malfi. Fingers crossed my enjoyment level can do whatever that was. That's what my enjoyment level is going to do for the next couple hundred pages. I feel like things being character driven has just kind of become synonymous with things being slow and potentially boring. And when I say boring, I mean boring just for like the average reader. Obviously there's some variation on that because a lot of people do read books because they're character driven. But I'm just coming to a point with this book where I'm realizing, like, the issue is that it is so non-personal and like distant. Like, I can't say that it's necessarily boring, and I also can't say that there's nothing happening. There are things happening. It's not boring, but it's not character driven at all. Whether or not you are a person that cares that much about characters, I still feel like a blatant lack of character development, or not even necessarily character development, but like
closeness, it just kind of negates any opportunity for like excitement or intrigue. Like if I were to list out the things that are happening in this book now, I think a lot of viewers would be like, that sounds enticing, exciting, I want to read that. But it's not fun to read about. I just feel like I'm watching everything from like a telescope. And even when the characters are getting kind of personal and like talking about their feelings, it just, the way that it's written just feels so like, I keep saying the word distant, and I guess I'll just keep saying it. All this is just to say I think character-driven books have gotten a bad rap, because once you take that away, it's just not a fun reading experience. And like, I understand that that can be a little bit subjective. It's just hard for me to read this and think that it's good with the level of distance I feel between this vast cast of characters. Alright, I'm now on page 136, and I'm gonna be done with Bone White for the night. I feel myself beginning to hate read just a bit, not gonna lie. I know I said with part 1 the events themselves weren't boring. Now 30 pages into part 2, the events of the book are also now boring. I am bored to tears. Also, take a shot every time there's a new character introduced, because they're still introducing new characters. Combine some roles. Like, I wish I had my camera on for when I read that last chapter, because like I fully rolled my eyes when they introduced that last character. Just like, another one? Another one? I am done with Bone White for the night. And even though my opinions on Bone Gap were not all that positive the last time I set it down, I've got high hopes, because I'm not hate reading this yet. So hi, it's almost midnight. No, hi, it's past midnight. Hi, it is past midnight. I'm going to take off my war-torn mascara as I am talking to you. I am now on page 110 of Bone Gap. And if I wasn't so disappointed in both books, I would think that the problem was me. I'm definitely not in a fantastic space for some like high quality reading at this current moment in my life. I'm quite stressed out. I feel like I don't have a great sense of control over my life, and I feel like every day goes by at warp speed. That said, most of the time when I'm reading, even if I am not in a fantastic headspace for reading, I am usually able to put aside any personal woes in order to get into the setting and enjoy the book. That is, of course, if the book is doing the absolute bare minimum for me. The issues that I was having the last time I checked in with you with Bone Gap was that all information in the story seems to be presented in a very random fashion. Like, every conversation feels a little bit, I don't want to say pointless, but the point does elude us as readers. And I didn't love that quality of the story the last time I read it, but I was hoping that that feeling would go away once we started getting a little bit more into the plot, and we have not stopped presenting information in a way that feels very, very random. So that gripe did not change. I was really hoping it was. I can no longer assume that that gripe just came from being in a bad mood that day, because I am still having the exact same opinions. Secondly, this book has now completely lost me. I do not understand what is going on. We've got like a girl that really likes bees. She's now in the picture, and we are in love with her and kissing her. At least from Finn's perspective. There are two perspectives. There's Finn, the boy. He got beat up. I believe I told you that he got beat up in like the first chapter. I think that's when that happened. And then there's also Rosa. She's the other perspective. She's the girl that's missing. She's from Poland. That's not relevant. At first it was Rosa's point of view that lost me. And I didn't know anymore what the heck. My roommate is grinding coffee at midnight. Are you alright? I didn't know what was going on with Rosa. I was confused. But I was like, you know what? I at least know what is going on in Finn's point of view. Not on like a I can see where things are going level, but like on a I can tell sentence by sentence what is happening and what Finn is doing with his life.
but we are not in that position anymore. The more that I'm reading, and then also the more that I am looking at some of the blurbs on the back of Bone Gap, I am realizing that this is supposed to have like a fairy tale element to it, but like the writing doesn't give fairy tale. Like it's not that lyrical, so like I'm not getting that. I'm just getting confused. I can't really think of a time in which I had such negative feelings towards two books that I was reading at the same time. Like usually one of them I get into like kind of a hate read mode, and the other one that I'm currently reading is a little bit better. These dudes are neck and neck. I am not enjoying either of them at all. And I thought I really would like them. I'm thinking potentially there is something about books with the word bone in the title that repels me. It's very late and I want to go to sleep, but I also want to feel like I'm remotely enjoying the books that I'm reading, because at this point in my life, reading books for fun is the only free time I'm getting. That's not even true. I literally went to Costco today. I didn't have to do that. I'm gonna go to bed, and potentially in the morning I will still be hating the books with the same passion that I'm hating them now. Hate is a strong word. I'm strongly disliking both books. But maybe I will pick them up again and they'll be tolerable, and maybe they won't. Maybe this is gonna be a hate read vlog. Those can be fun. Maybe this vlog's title was never going to be The Bone Off. Maybe the real title was Read 2 1-star books with me and watch me spiral. The heat got turned on and now it's loud and you can't hear me anyway. Good night. So I've got an hour and a half before class, so an hour and a half to read 83 pages, which is perfectly doable, or at least it would be, if my roommates hadn't gotten me Cinnabon to distract me. So I will be consuming that as I read, which will likely slow down the reading process by quite a bit. Just wanted to show you, I know you saw Under the Dust Jacket last night, but you didn't see the inside. Look how cute that is. Anyway, I have to read, and relatively quickly. Fingers crossed this is better than the other two books I'm reading right now. Have something to say, Rose?
I was gonna say I wanted to drink my water bottle, but it's really loud. I feel like I have to swallow my Cinnabon down whole so I don't interrupt.
To end the clip, and
I feel like
then we can
choking
shut it off.
would be louder than chewing, though.
Okay, give me a second. I doubt I'll have like any time to actually update on how I'm liking this book, because I do just have to power through to get to class on time. But I will give you more updates later, probably when I come home from work tonight. Okay, I'm about to go into work, but before I go, I have a very happy update. Turns out I don't hate reading. I'm on like page 85 of Piranesi, and do I understand what's going on? Not really. Am I still having a good time? Yes. Anyway, time to go to work. Time to make money. Fingers crossed. Customers don't test me too much today, because I will test them right back. So, it is the next day, and I do have to work today, unfortunately, which is why I am putting on a little bit of makeup. Yesterday, work was really, really rough. And I feel like while at work I am going to really need the confidence boost that just a little bit of eye makeup can give you. To tell you a little bit about my day yesterday. Oh, the cat's in here. Oh, good. Here he is. He got outside a couple days ago. Most stressful thing that has ever happened to any of us. His name is Kaladin, named after that one Brandon Sanderson book. He's not my cat. I did not name him. But we love him to pieces. He's the best cat. I feel like everybody that has ever worked in retail knows this feeling, but there are just some days when like you go into work and you just automatically feel incredibly fragile. Every single customer makes you anxious, even if they have done nothing wrong to you, even if they are just asking you about coupons, you still just feel terrified. And yesterday I was dealing with that. And then I also was training like a new hire, and when I say new hire, I mean brand new. It was her first day on the job. This girl was also 16, like it was her first ever job. She was a very sweet girl, but it was her first ever job. So I was trying to show her how to do all this stuff. And of course, because we had a brand new hire, customers had to act accordingly around that. We had a couple come into the store not wearing masks. What my store has basically said has been like, obviously, masks are required. If somebody comes in, you tell them masks are required. We have a mask for you. Because other stores in the area have had a lot of issues with people being violent towards the people on the sales floor. We're not allowed to do that much about people not wearing masks. It's incredibly frustrating. And yeah, so there's a couple not wearing masks. They said they didn't want to put one on. That was kind of the extent of it. The next lady in line was wearing a mask and was very upset that the people in front of her weren't wearing a mask. And like, I agreed with her. It's like, I wish they would put on masks too. I asked them to put on a mask, they wouldn't. But then she was mad at me and she was saying like, well, you weren't enforcing it enough. And it's like, yes, but there's literally only so much I'm allowed to do. Like, I cannot do anything else. Like, I will get in trouble if I try to do anything else. But, like, obviously, I'm not going to get into that with, like, a customer that is just upset. So, like, I'm just, trying to, like, validate, like, yes, I completely agree. They should be wearing a mask. Like, I totally understand what you're saying. Like, it's really frustrating that people don't. We have signs, we tell them, like, all that. And then right as I'm finishing up with her and about to send her on her way, of course, the next two people behind her in line, neither of them are wearing masks, because of course they're not. She's upset. She turns around and starts yelling at the next people in line. And of course, they start yelling back at her. And so they're having like a full-on fight. My poor new hire looks like she's about to burst into tears. I just like go grab our thing of masks and I'm like, okay, masks are required in our store. They're right here. If you don't have one, like just put one on. And they won't. Of course they won't, because they never freaking do. And yeah, it just got really nasty, people yelling back and forth. Of course, while all of this is happening, my new hire is like, I forgot my login and I need to help this customer. Can you help me? And so then I'm like, okay, hold on. Let's just like get everything under control. I am not a manager, by the way. I like have very little power in terms of what I can do. And of course that night we were very short-staffed, so I couldn't call the manager up either because she was busy handling an angry customer on the phone. And like, once again, I was so anxious that whole shift already, so to have like a full-on war between customers, suffice to say by the end of it, I was like shaking on the verge of tears. I love how they look completely different. That's great. That's sexy, beautiful. Anyway, I know we're like literally 2 years into the pandemic and everything, and so like this sentiment has been shared a billion times. But like, please stop making retail workers deal with the fallout of you not liking whatever rules are in place. Like, I do not care what your ideologies on COVID are. I literally could not care less. A craft store at 7 p.m. is not the time to flex your like political beliefs on me or anybody else. Like, just follow the rules. We retail workers are sick of dealing with this. Just stop. I'm working just a little baby shift from 3 to 7. I'm telling myself it won't be that bad. My makeup is done. I'm not doing full face because I'm going to be wearing a mask like all day and this is all anybody's going to see, and I think that looks pretty. And if the people at work today make me want to cry, I can just remember, at least your eyes look nice. At least my eyes look nice. Alright, let's start reading some books. Okay, so I'm about 60% of the way through Bone White, still having much of the same issues with it. My biggest issue with it right now is that it's so overwritten, it's reading just kind of amateurish, and I'm just kind of at the point where I'm just skimming because it's just, there's so much detail that I don't need. However, my roommates got tired of me complaining about it, and then went and I didn't even complain that much.
Really didn't.
Thank you. And my lovely roommate, Sayla, is currently reading the last couple pages because she started looking up reviews for it. And apparently, the first, 3/4 of it aren't that good, but everyone's saying that the ending is really good. So, I'm gonna keep going with it, if anything, just to see if that ending actually makes up for the absolute slog that the first, 200 pages so far have been.
I just read, probably 15 pages. I obviously was very confused, but it was good. I mean, I say it was good, but also I skimmed a little bit.
Okay.
I'll say that.
Did you like the writing? Am I just being ridiculously overcritical?
To be fair, I liked the writing.
Oh no.
But I don't know, there were like a few parts where I was like, why are we digging in right here? I feel like what's happening? Why are we like focusing on this right now?
Yeah.
So, which was kind of like what you were saying. So,
Yeah. All right. I'll keep going.
yeah.
I'll keep giving it a shot.
Kaladin has finally recognized the existence of our neighbor's cat. It's a really trying time for him.
The boy next door, Gary.
The boy next door. Who we thought was dead, because we heard a very intense cat fight like a couple weeks ago and had not seen Gary since, but it seems that he came out victorious from that.
All right, I'm making a deal with myself. I wasn't going to DNF either of these books because I'm doing it for a challenge. I'm doing it for a vlog. I wanted to see them through. If I can at least finish one, I'm giving myself an out on the other one. I just need to have an out in sight because these books are wearing me down. I'm gonna have a good day at work. Everyone's gonna be tasteful and friendly. Everybody is going to wear their masks. No one is going to fight with me over coupons. I'm manifesting. I put on makeup today. I am manifesting a good shift. It's gonna be a good day. It is. It is. Good news, work was better. This is all I'm going to be doing for the next, let's say, half hour or so. Oh, do you want to know what this is about? I never said. It's very hard to explain. Mostly because you don't really understand what's going on. At the point that I'm at right now, which I am like 50% of the way through, I like think that I understand what's going on, but I also could very much not understand what's going on. I don't know. But basically, we have this man who is referred to as Piranesi. He says that that's not his name, and he's in a very, very big house, which he calls the house. And said house is basically this giant labyrinth with tons and tons of halls, and there's lots and lots of statues. And that's really all there is to say about the book so far. You don't know why he's there, how he got there. You don't know anything about, like, his childhood. There's, like, one other living person that's there with him, who he calls the Other. And then there's a bunch of dead people, like skeletons that he's named. And yeah, that's the book. It's really, really gorgeously written, and it's super engaging because you just never really know what's going on. Reading Bone Gap, I can tell at this point that they are trying to do like a kind of a fairy tale-esque thing. And though I wouldn't necessarily call Piranesi like fairy tale, it's still very like mythical. And like it's okay that I'm confused because it's like almost in a way assuring me that like, yeah, of course you're confused. Everyone's confused. Piranesi himself is confused. So it works. But with Bone Gap, I'm just confused. And like it's not in like a fun, like, I promise you'll understand all this eventually sort of way. I just don't get what's happening. Just thought I'd quickly show you how gorgeous this book actually looks under the dust jacket. It's so pretty. Alright, so today is Sunday, and more importantly, today is the day of our Friendsgiving. Are you excited for Friendsgiving? No? Oh! Why are you leaving? Why are you acting like you hate me today? We love each other. We do. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I have been tasked with making the dessert, which popular demand was pumpkin pie, but we have enough people that do not like the texture of pumpkin pie, so I am settling for a pumpkin pound cake. I did purchase a pumpkin pie, but it will not be homemade. So I have to get that whipped up within the next little bit.
Quick one, not into just.
Still in a bad mood? Why are you still so angry? Do you not like the tree? I'm so close to being done. I still don't like it. I did it. It's over. It's finally over. I didn't like that book. But in all fairness, I've realized the biggest thing holding me back from liking this book has always been the way that it's written. I've mentioned that it feels amateurish several times now, or at least I think I've mentioned it. The issue with this book, and I fully can understand how it would be like a purely personal issue, and other people probably wouldn't have an issue with this book, but the entire time I read it, I never felt like I was just in the story. I felt like I was standing over somebody that was writing. Like, I was so fixated on all of the irritating things going on in the writing that I felt like I was just there with Mr. Ronald Malfi, just sitting there with him and being like, man, do you really want to say it that way? Do we really need this paragraph about his pee? It honestly felt like I was reviewing somebody's work for one of my, like, writing classes. And yeah, the writing was just too irritating for me to ever really get into this book. I'm gonna give it 2 stars. A lot of that has to do with just enjoyment level. This book is not long. It's like 320 pages, and yet I have been reading it for what feels like a century. It felt like it took me so long to get through this. And I'm just gonna say it right now, there's no way I'm finishing Bone Gap. I was starting to hate that one even more. Do I recommend Bone White? Honestly, I would recommend it to people who read and don't care that much about writing style. And I honestly, if you are interested at all in this book and in like the concepts, because like I think that it's doing some cool things, I would read like the first 50 pages as a taste test, and then if you are not liking it then, odds are you're not gonna like it another 300 pages later. Not really a fan of this one. It did not work for me.
I'm about to go to the library, which leads me to make the decision with Bone Gap, which I basically already made last night. I just didn't film it. I went on Goodreads, I looked through the reviews, and guys, guess what? When you look through the reviews before reading a book, you learn things about the book that maybe would have told you you wouldn't have liked the book. I'm not somebody that likes to look at reviews. I read the synopsis, only the synopsis. Sometimes I don't even finish the synopsis because I want to go in as blind as possible. But anyway, if I were to look at the reviews before picking this book up, I would have seen that literally everybody is calling it magical realism. And I don't really like magical realism. So, like, already this book was kind of set up to fail. However, I will say, I am not, like, opposed to reading any genre. Like, if I pick up a book and I'm enjoying it, I'm enjoying the book. Do I gravitate towards magical realism, fantasy, whatever? No, but like, I'm not going to stop reading just because elements pop up that I don't necessarily always like. For example, Piranesi, so not my thing. There's so many like fantasy elements going on, but it's gorgeously written, so I have no problem with it. One of my favorite books of all time, probably my favorite book of all time, is technically fantasy, which like, I don't like fantasy. No. I would actually say that it is magical realism. But anyway, I cannot bring myself to read any more of this book. I am sorry. It's just, I don't know what other people are seeing in the writing style. Like, other people are saying, like, it's gorgeous, it's this, it's that. Like, where? Like, I'm just confused. Similar to Bone White, a lot of the reviews on that book, too, like, even though I did find some people that agreed with me, a lot of the reviews were like, this is really good, it's creepy, it's atmospheric, it's this, it's that. I genuinely think that if I wasn't reading Piranesi right now, I would have an existential crisis around reading as a whole, because maybe I think nothing is pretty anymore. I don't know. Who knows? Anyway, I'm going to take this back. Oh my goodness, Kaladin! He was sitting right behind me and I stepped on him! Not like hard step, but like, why'd you do that, bud? Please ignore the sound of people painting our house in the background. Yeah. We don't know when they're coming. They don't tell us. They just show up.
They told us late last night.
I guess they did tell us late last night.
But then they said sorry for the late notice.
Which was so cute, because it was like, you never tell us anyway. What are you apologizing for?
This entire vlog has been a mess, so I don't know why I expected it to end on like a positive note. So I'll just say, I had good intentions, but I will not be able to finish Piranesi tonight, mostly because it's already quite late. I have been up packing and doing all the homework that I need to get done before Thanksgiving. Tomorrow I am heading home, visiting my family for the first time since I moved, but tomorrow technically marks the start of Black Friday, and I am working
9 to 1, which is not bad at all. It's a fantastic shift to work for the circumstances. Like, any other shift would be absolute hell. But this is all just to say, like, any other night, I would have definitely forced myself to finish reading Piranesi just so I could be like, all right, I at least read 2 books. Did I have the ability to compare Bone White and Bone Gap by the end of this video? No, I didn't finish one of them. Did I have anything positive or really entertaining to say about the one book that I did finish? No. Did I finish a book that I liked? No, I didn't finish it. I didn't have time. I had to go to sleep. Piranesi is either going to be a 5-star or a 4-star. I'm not really sure yet. Either way, it's a really good book. People should read it. I enjoyed it when I seemed to not be enjoying anything at all. So I highly recommend it. You will hear more about it in my November reading wrap-up, which should be posted the first week of December. So yeah, I need to go to bed. I'm not going to push myself to finish this book. I apologize. I'm 80% of the way through with it. I don't know if I mentioned that. So there's really not that much left, but I'm just, not tonight. The vlog's over now. Everybody can go home. Thank you so much for watching if you did manage to get this far. Honestly, if you did, like, reward yourself with, like, a snack. Just do something nice to yourself. Like, I don't know what makes you tick, but just do the thing. I don't know. And put books that you're not enjoying down. Life is too short. That's the message behind this video. Not, hey, this book is better than the other, but just sometimes all the books you pick up are bad, and it's okay to be like, these are bad. Not gonna read them anymore. Yeah, that's the message. Good night.